Hello and welcome to another analysis. Okay, now before we get to the game, this is the deck I played. Right, so the changes to Field of Ruin, I really feel dissatisfied with 3. So I played to Farmland, 1 main deck Veto, I've liked that. The Charms and to Silhouettes, I think that's a very good removal package. I've really liked the Sensors. Omen is a nuts, I'm not going to play Opt. Sabotage is to Teferi, 1 Gideon of the Trials, just to see if he's as good as people claim it to be. I changed a Cast Out into an Elspeth, and Elspeth has been really good actually. Cast Outs have been kind of underwhelming recently because there are not that many Planeswalkers or non-land permanents. I think Cast Out will be played less, right? I mean, 2 seems like a good number, but we'll see. Sideboard is basically 45, 14 of my preferred 15. The only I'm not going probably to change a lot in this sideboard, but I play 1 Gideon instead of 3rd Rip because I thought that the Rip is really not that good actually. We don't have the dredges, we don't have the soul flayers, and actually 2 is an okay number. Now, mind you, this is a list that will be played in the video. I've got a different list which I'm working on, which is just cosmetically different. And what I want to say is that there will be a video, a separate video on the state of Blue-Eye Control in Pioneer. Now, we'll get ready for Game 1. Remember, before we get to Game 1, remember to like, to comment, to subscribe, because I know you haven't subscribed yet. And let's go to Game 1, shall we? Game 1. Okay. This is the hand. Obviously, it's nuts. Okay, obviously it would be great on the play, but I'm looking at this hand and I can see turn 2 interaction into turn 3 interaction. If I don't need interaction, I've got Omen to dig. I've got turn 2 interaction, turn 3 interaction, turn 4 Omen into potentially something. So this hand is really, really good. I snap keep this hand. My opponent goes Botanical Sanctum, pass. So I'm thinking could be Breach, could be Delirium, like Keithy's combo, like Botanical Sanctum doesn't say anything. Now, actually, I hope it's a creature deck. I hope it's Delirium, because then I can go, no, 2, 3, 4. Hallowed Fountain, pass. Okay, Spectral Sailor. So now I know it's spirits. Okay, so now I have no decisions. So I just say, let's see what happens, and they pass the turn. So now, it really depends on the spirits player, I think. But I think the draws we lose most too are these very patient draws. I think if our opponent is very patient and knows how to deploy threats, we'll be in more trouble rather than if they go all in, right, on the aggro plan. So my opponent has played Sailor, so I already have to be thinking about the rattle chains, right? And if we keep passing the turn, they will be able to eventually start drawing cards with the Sailor. Obviously, it's very mana intensive, but that could be the case. The following turn, if I do nothing, they could play, 3rd land, play a Wanderer, pass, and keep holding up, rattle chains. Or play rattle chains now, and then be able to flash and Selfless whenever they want. So that's kind of tricky. What I know is that I still cannot do anything now, right? So I can very safely play a land and pass. Right? At least to represent some removal spells. My opponent decides to go for attacks. I say no problem. Because on the other hand, remember that 1, this is not pressure. Like 1 damage. So basically they don't have pressure. What they do have is starting turn 4, pay for draw. But that's not really a problem because I draw a ton of cards in my deck. So they will not win on the card advantage front. Right? I will lose on the tempo front or life total front. Right? And if that's the case, I like this situation, really. Because even if they're running away with drawing cards, sure. But I do have a lot of card advantage in the deck. So as long as my life isn't going down, I'm happy. So now obviously I can just slam Omen of the Sea and step safely. Because if they quell it, they've got shield down, but they won't. Okay, now I see Plains and Teferi. And I can see 2 plays here. Most probably. You either top because your plan is to go, 3, 4, 5, or you bottom, because if you don't have the Tefri, you don't need the 5th land. So my personal decision is a bottom, because the game will not revolve around that much. And I need to keep drawing gas. Now I draw Supreme Verdict, and Supreme Verdict is very good if it's timed correctly, right? The threat, which protects them from Verdict, is obviously Spell Queller and Selfless Spirit. So now I think I've got up to 5 lands lined up. So what I think I would like to set up 3 turns from now is a situation where I can double spell, Tefri, and a 2-drop. Okay, can I realistically do that? I think I do, because I can turn 3 now, I can pop or play. Turn 4, I can potentially slam Verdict or pop the other one or play. Or slam Elspeth and just gain 5. So I think it looks fine. It looks perfectly fine. I think if I've got this planned up like that, 3 turns forward should be fine. Rattle Chains, that's fine. I don't care that much. It's now 3 power. It's now more, but they have a land drop, so there could be Coco coming. They bash. Now, let's think. So if I charm now, what do I charm? I charm Rattle Chains because he's more expensive to replay. However, if I charm Rattle Chains, they can replay Rattle Chains, which can give hexproof, right, later. But charming a 1-drop doesn't seem that great. Okay, I can do nothing. But if I charm and they react, if they play Rattle Chains, they won't have a Queller up, and I will be able to resolve a Tefri, right? And the Tefri will go to 5, so it will immediately die, which would be 3 mana, gain 5, or I could down tick on Tefri, and that would be also like gain life bounce, or I could slam an Elspeth. So the question is, do I want to Azorius Charm? So the problem is that I don't have only 1 removal spell, so it might mean I need to make them have it a bit. Ultimately, I decide to wait until post blocks to see if, because they've got priority. I want to see if they want to add more before damage, and then after that, because they could Coco, for example, for a Lord, and now I charm. Now, charm resolved, and it does not mean that they don't have something like a Rattle Chains or a Queller, because they're also thinking in the same categories as we are. So, for example, they're thinking about being mana efficient, and they want to devote this turn for a Coco, not something else. So what I'm hoping for now is that I'm tapped low and they'll Coco in their main phase, but they don't. Okay, so I can see they're really playing the patient game. They want to draw a card here. But now I see I can play a 4th land and slam Elspeth, or play 4th land, play Omen, or play 4th land, pop, and the following turn I will be able to play Tefri Sensor. Sure, yeah, so I need to plan like that. I think that could be a doable position. They shock in, but they didn't draw it on the end step, and I really don't know what that represents. So I think that the most likely solution is that they didn't remember and they just clicked through. I think that's the most likely solution. However, there might be something they wanted to hold up. Supreme Phantom, I'm really happy about that. Why? That's actually kind of, I think, maybe easy, but because they play like that, what I'm thinking is, okay, absolutely resolves, they bash me, now I have 3 mana, play a Tefri, they want to Quell for 3, and I can censor it. And that's the play I hope I will be able to make. Now they bash me for 2. As you can see, Sailor has drawn like 0 cards up until now, I think. So, and even if it has, again, that's not the front we were fighting at. Okay, so end step, let's play Omen. Keep holding up Censor, should that be necessary. Seal away Supreme Verdict. I've got the 5th land. I will draw off of the Tefri. I think, so again, I think you could either keep both and just like say, you never hit me again. You could even double bottom and see, okay, I've got this, I've got this to stabilize. I need some color. I need to pull ahead a bit. I think any option is reasonable. I decided to keep. I think I don't remember what I decided to do, but I think what I would do is keep seal away, not keep verdict. I think. Seal away is very good because it doesn't act out of combat. Now what I do now is I seal away. So because now I can actually change my plans a bit because I saw the seal away, so I can be mana efficient now and see what happens. If it works, as it does, now actually I really don't know if I kept the verdict. I might have drawn the second one. Now that was actually very important because now I can go Teferi, bounce, and censor the Quella, and they've got nothing at that point. So that seal away was turbo crucial. And what happens? No. As expected, you quell, I censor. They've got 2 cards in hand. I unsummon. I draw a seal away, pass. Let's see what they do. They play a Coco like that. So I can plus a Teferi and pass. And play seal away plus Omen. I can slam Elspeth actually. I can play Verdict instant speed, but I don't care about. Ideally, I'd have 6 lands, right? So I could, for example, seal away and Verdict, but I can't. So I plus Teferi, and I pass. They play Phantom. I'm happier, very happy about that. Empyrean Eagle. Okay, so basically what I want to see if I can. So what I'm counting on is that they attack with the Selfless. I can seal away it. Untap Verdict, and that would be very terrible for them to come catch up from. Now let's see how they attack. They attack like this. It's a very smart attack because it means that if I want to seal away this and that's the best target, I don't save my Teferi. So that's very smart on the opponent's part. But I will still seal away this, and I will 100% crack Omen of the Sea because I want to have 6th land to be able to go this and have this in case they have a Coco. Again, cast out. Cast out is not great. It's 4 mana. It's very inefficient. I think I'll just keep the Hallowed Fountain. And just let's do that. Let's just play Supreme Verdict. Play Untapped Hallowed Fountain and go. They've got 1 card in hand, so basically if they want to come back, they need to Coco. Supreme Verdict, Supreme Phantom, and they pass. Island. I think I'll slam Nemesis now, because I don't care about verdicting that. I can slam Nemesis, I can just, gain 5. Exactly, just gain 5. I don't care about bodies. Just go. They can attack what? Elspeth? Yeah, I don't care. That's irrelevant. And I can pop the Omen again at the end step, which I didn't. Oh, which is actually quite smart because I wanted to keep up veto. Now I can see Teferi. So now there's nothing I'm afraid of because I've got still Dovin's veto up. And to be honest, if I didn't, I'd still just slam Teferi. And just, now basically I can't feel like I could lose. I drew a Sabotage. Nebelgast Herald. Yeah, sure, resolves. And Rattle Chains. Okay, so opponent... okay, so now it becomes way more interesting. My opponent decided to sandbag a few creatures, and now I cannot counter any of them. So I'm untapped, but I can do nothing, and they've got 7 power in the air. Now, Eagle. Okay, so they've got 10 power, which I know is irrelevant, because they could even bash me for 17. I don't care, because I will Verdict, and... So just, come at me, bro. Doesn't matter, they killed the Teferi, doesn't matter. Let's just, Supreme Verdict. Oh, and I'll just Supreme Verdict, pass, holding up Sabotage. Let's see what happens. They play Supreme Phantom. I aggressively sabotage it so that the board is clear. And my opponent decides that that's just too much. They cannot overcome it. And to be honest, that may have been an immature... a premature concession, because I actually have nothing going on, right? Because Omen has to find something, and that insulates me against Coco, but they don't know that. I think they could play out one or two more turns But yeah, that's game one. That was quite difficult. They had a lot of stuff, but I think it was kind of well navigated. So let's see game two. Game two. Now, I don't want to distract you, so before I show my opening hand, I want to show sideboarding. And as you can see, I sided out a Veto, out an Elspeth, and all the sabotages. And that's what I really like doing, because sabotage is super inefficient. And the best way they can beat us is that they control the timing and they play flash. And counter spells themselves are not that bad, but it's because it's 3 mana. And that's huge, because they will be flashing in 1-drops and 2-drops however they wish, right? And sabotage will be very, very mana inefficient, and they will have also disputes. What I've brought in are disputes, obviously, and Dream Trawler, right? So I know people say that, oh, they have disputes, they have Disdainful Stroke, so Trawler maybe is bad. It isn't, because one, they'd have to sandbag the counter spells for the Dream Trawler. That's one. So they wouldn't be countering anything along the way, which is fine, right? It means they wouldn't spend their disputes on my charms, on my omens, on my Tefris, both Tefris, right? So that's fine. Disdainful Stroke, okay, that's narrow, but they could have that, I agree. From my experience, I can tell you that we either set up a situation when we have a Tefri, small Tefri, so that's not the problem. 2, they've used the counter spells. 3, we have the counter spells, because they operate on 4, 5, 6 lands, right? We operate on way more, so we can just play 6 mana Trawler and keep up our dispute, right? So that all these 3 scenarios are very much likely. I look at this hand. Oh, I used to play Thassa's Intervention. Okay, sure. So that was probably like 2 leagues ago. This hand is bad. Like, obviously we're hoping that our Seodane fixes it, but it's generally bad, okay? And I think this hand is a trap, because you play this into this, and then on the following turn, you don't have that. You have to hope you have that, but to have that, you have to want a land, but you need interaction, so this hand needs lands and interaction. I think it's a ship back. I keep that. Woof. No, I wouldn't. I know, like, is my average 6 bad? Yes. Because hands with Omen and 3 Fairy and Dispute and Sealaways, so yeah. Which is, again, interesting why we have replays, right? I learn from them, and I can see that normally I just wouldn't keep that hand. Yeah, so I play Island Go, and the thought behind it is I will be able to play lands later, probably, but I think the main reason was to bluff Dispute, what I think is a bad reason. I much rather just save to life, and they Selfless, which plays around it, so just poor, very poor play on my part. I drew a Tefri, that's terrible. Okay, just play a land Go, holding up Omen of the Sea. They slam for 3. Now I Omen, and this is the most important part. Now I don't need lands, at least there's that. I don't want to dig. I don't really want a verdict, but probably, like, my play partner will probably shock this in, hold up Thassa's Intervention, then cast away that and verdict. That sounds fine, yeah. I ultimately decided not to keep the verdict, and I can get behind that to find more efficient interaction. And actually, I don't know if you've noticed, but they've missed the land drop, right? So they are on 2 lands. I drew a painless land, so no, never punished for bluffing. Don't bluff. Just like bluffing is fine only and only if it doesn't cost you actual resources in the game. They play Rattle Chains. I snap off the Thassa's Intervention because that's a bad counter spell. They counter the Thassa's Intervention. I don't care. Now they bash me for 4. There are 2 lands still. Sure, I can play a land and cast out. I will pass because maybe they'll play something on end step. They do, so I can cast out in response. Now, because they've got 2 redundant effects, I'll just cast out the Rattle Chain so that they cannot play instant speed. They've got 4 power. It's turn 5. They bash me for 4. And they still have got 2 lands. Oh, vomit. It's like, they've got 2 lands and I'm getting, just smashed here. Okay, another Teferi, so my poker hand, is a full house, so I probably win. I have no play. And again, just don't bluff. Just don't bluff. That's the only realistic play you have. Just slam it here. Minus on the selfless. Do what you have to do. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Minus on the selfless. My opponent is casting Petty Theft on cast out to bring back Rattle Chains to give the selfless hexproof. Nice. Okay. I'm not literally dead, so there is no reason for me to wait until I draw my next card. What outs have I got? So I do have got outs. My outs are Settle the Wreckage. So I plus Teferi. That's not enough. What am I? Oh, it's fine because I will be untapping, so that's fine. Cycle that. Yeah, but I think what I should have done is cycle this to maximize having settled the wreckage. So I think this game was like a very poor mulliganing decision, and it cost me the game. And even though they operate on 2 lands, it just kept threat. Couldn't keep up, right? So that was a kind of a disappointing end. But let's try to redeem ourselves. Game 3. Game 3. Oh, this hand is rubbish. But now I think we can agree, and I hope I mulligan this hand because it does nothing. It's not a good hand. I mean, it's a fine 6, and it's kind of rough to go to 7, and like I have to keep that because of an interaction on 2 on the play. But it's a very rubbish hand, to be honest, and I'll be keeping that. But what do you bottom here? That's a good question. So think about it for a moment. What do you bottom here? And I personally will bottom Teferi because these are 2 pieces of interaction. I can cast them. I've got land. So in such a situation, without this card, I only need to draw gas. However, if I bottom a land, I need to draw lands and gas. Alright, so that's like... This is not a good hand. It's worth considering to just shock this in and cycle that, but... Maybe if I can censor their turn to play, cast out can realistically be a removal spell. They've got a 1-drop, which I'm really not happy about. I draw a land, which I'm really not happy about. Go. Not feeling good about this game. They're attacking me. Play a land. Tapped. Go. So, maybe they've also kept a loose hand. I think they've mulliganed to 6. Our classic Magic the Gathering game. I draw another land. Sure. Go. Hope they play a 3-drop. But I'm just again censoring, again, especially around that. Just using my resources. Because the problem is, again, with counterspells that you don't know if they're going to play into it. Right, so I could hold up it on their turn, but if they don't play into it, I've got wasted mana. And then I will be, so I'll just rather just hold up, cast out now. They've got a land. That's good, but I cannot play both. But, I'll take it. Pass. They play a tap. They attack. Now I untap. So because if I cast out and they have a... It's a different situation than previous games, because if they have a Queller, I've got nothing to interact with it. So I just lose the cast out. If they've got a Rattle Chains, again, I just lose the cast out. And normally it should be fine if I can untap and punish them. In this case, I couldn't. I drew a Teferi, which is excellent, because I can now play Teferi and a Dispute, but now I need to play land before that to play around, to be able to Dispute and also through the Wanderer. Let's see what happens. Hope they quell. Yeah, that's great because they had to spend the whole turn. Do this. Now I'll aggressively bounce. I want to board clear. Go. Wanderer. Sailor. So, I think I'll be verdicting. Yeah, I don't want to cycle a cast out. I thought I don't need to cycle cast out. I draw a Gideon. So I could play a Gideon on this and let it hit. But if they play a Lord, then this dies, which I really don't want to happen. They could draw a card. So I think the best option is just to verdict my turn in order not to let them draw the card and play Hallowed Fountain tapped. So now, from this very bad position, I think our opponent also kept a very loose hand. So wait, maybe that's not over yet. That's how they come back into this game. They've got Deputy plus Rattle Chains, and they could be holding up a dispute, sure. So I think the play is cast out on Deputy and bounce this. And I wouldn't play Teferi because they could have the dispute. Now, if they don't have a dispute, I'm in okay position. If they do have a dispute, that's a very bad position. I need to take advantage of this position. So I will just take advantage of... you may have seen I wanted to cut Teferi, but then I remembered that no, that's not a good situation. Let's do this. Let's bounce that. Azorius Charm, go. Let's see what they do. I think the end is near, so I think my opponent's kind of packing up slowly. They play 2 threats. Sure, not afraid of that. So I can now plus Teferi, hold up Azorius Charm. Another option. Yeah, I just tucked one in and hold up Azorius Charm. But I remember myself thinking about this play. I think I dislike this play actually because they could play now a Rattle Chains, target this Rattle Chains, and then I cannot cast the charm, so they will kill whatever they want to kill. So I think I exposed myself to risk, which I didn't have to. Contrary to a situation where I plus Teferi, and I'm in a similar situation, but Teferi's on 5, not 1. My opponent attacks Teferi, so obviously I can charm because they cannot do anything in combat. So if I untap with both Teferis, I should be fine. Yeah, so I can just plus the Teferi, play the Gideon, target Supreme Phantom, just pass. So now I think it's just academic from this point. So I will just let the game play out with the pace it was originally played in. So end step, I'll probably just scry 2 because that's the use of my resources. Again, with this deck, with this build, you cannot really flat out ever. I keep both things on top because that's removal and I just want to keep it clear. Dream Trawler, I can slam it very safely because they cannot dispute it. And they concede. Okay, and they concede. So that's the game, that's the match. I think a key takeaway, so kind of summarizing what I've already said, is that we lose on the tempo front and damage front. We don't lose on the card advantage front because we've got more powerful spells, more powerful card draw engines, and you have to see who dictates the pace of the game. Counter spells are really not bad, so I want to cash in my sensors whenever I want, right? Azorius Charm depends. I really like Seal Away here. My original Blue-Eyed Thirst build was very good at it because I could seal away outside of combat, and I could, for example, seal away a Sulphur Spirit on my turn, for example. So that was good. But so these will be the key takeaways. This matchup isn't easy, but I think it's winnable. You can lose, as you saw. If just opponent had 2 lands, you could realistically lose such games, but don't think about it. Don't tunnel vision on some small samples, and one game where you lost and you got smashed, that was a bad keep decision, and that's what I want to always reflect on. Bad keep decision, not like a matchup is this and that. That there was a bad decision on my side, which I do very often. You have to make bad decisions to then make good decisions. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, hold my hand. Let's pass the turn together. See you next time. Cheers.